Hello, hi everyone. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah. So as mentioned earlier, so from today we'll be starting with the level two topics, where we'll be trying to cover the real-time scenarios. How are we going to enter the project? How are we going to get the project from business? And as a consultant, what is your role there? And in each and every phase, what are the activities we'll be doing? So all these things we'll be discussing in this level two. So level one is completely the design phase, and level two will be completely the planning phase. In level one, you will see almost all the things are standard. In level two, you will see some custom things here. So quickly, if I share the plan, what we will be covering in level two, let me share my screen. Let me know if it is visible. If you want me to make bit zoomer, let me know.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So the first thing, what we will be covering in this level two is also called as project training. So we will be training you guys, how are you going to work in the project? When you get a real-time project, how are you going to work? And what are the challenges you will face, all those things. So first thing what we'll be covering here is what are the different types of projects we have in SAP. So if business wants to implement SAP, in what all ways the business can implement SAP? That is what we are going to see first thing in this level two, and we will try to cover this types of projects today itself. And apart from that, we will see how is an implementation team will be built, and how the team is onboarded, in what phase, what type of consultant is getting onboarded, and how are these going to work. Then we will be seeing one real-time project example, saying that I'll take one project as an example. It might be any type of industry, and we will discuss how the business might come up and explain how the business is working and how they want their business to be converted to SAP. Because initially they'll be using legacy system. From legacy system, how they are going to convert those into SAP system. So requirement gathering, the fit and gap analysis, all those things we'll be seeing in this real-time project example. Then we have this project phases. So there are different types of methodologies in SAP, not in SAP. It is normally in wherever you do any project. It might be an SAP project or it might be any design project, anything. There are different types of methodology. Each and every types of methodology has their own phases. In this phase, this work should get completed. In the upcoming phase, this is the work what we need to do. So that is defined in each and every phase. So we will take each and every phase and explain what is activity is going to happen in that phase. Because normally when you are just doing a preparation, that is called as preparation phase. When you're discovering the partner, then that is called as discovery phase. When you're gathering the requirement, then it is called as explore phase. So we have different phases. I'll come to that when we are discussing regarding the project phases. Then we will also try to cover what are the project challenges we see while implementation. So this challenges of projects and the implementation team, we will cover these both topics into one of the phases. So we have, as I mentioned, we have 5 phases. In these 5 phases, we will cover when are we going to onboard the team, whom we are going to onboard at what time. And we'll also discuss when we are discussing the different phases, we'll also discuss what are the challenges we face in that phases. Okay. Then we will see how the interface will work in SAP. Interface is nothing but connecting one system to other system. So if you want to transfer the data from one system to other system, how are we going to transfer those? How are we going to connect the system? That is a part of interface. Then we will see support project, which is most leading projects in the SAP world now. So everyone are coming into SAP. When everyone are coming into SAP, they doesn't have any idea if they face any issue, how to get that resolved. So they will hire a consultants and they will ask them to work as a support consultant to support on the issues. Then we will also support you on the profile building. So when I say we will help you to build the profile building, we will not prepare the resumes for you guys. You guys need to prepare your resumes on your own. We will share some sample documents with you, sample resumes with you. So having those as a reference, you need to create the sample resumes. Then we can have one-on-one discussion with you guys. So each discussion will have 30 minutes. In those 30 minutes, each and every one can connect individually with me and discuss how is your resume built and what part is covered there and how to improvise your resume. All those things we can discuss there. Apart from that, we will also help you on the interview preparation. We will give you what are the interview questions which might be asked. Even I'm trying to cover in the each and every topic, telling that this might be an interview question, this might be important. And we will also try to cover the mock interviews. So we will take 3 to 4 mock interviews per person and try to analyze what is your knowledge on you have gained from this course. And we will tell you what is a knowledge gap you have. Then you need to get prepared on that knowledge gap and come back and give a second mock interview. So in each and every mock interview, we will explain what is the challenges you are facing while answering the questions, and why are you not answering the questions, what is the reason, and what is your knowledge gap, and what is the scope you have in your project. So based on this, we will tell where you need to improvise, and then you can improvise and come back and give this next mock interview. Then we have the job and strategy. So we'll also tell you how to get the calls from business or from the companies. If you don't get the calls, we'll also suggest you what to do. And if we have any openings, if you see any openings in our network, we will try to, sorry, we will try to refer you guys there. Then you can give the interviews and get that cleared. But clearing the interview is in your hand. You will get prepared for that. So this is what we are going to cover in this level 2 journey. Before I move to the main topic of today's project types, if you have any questions on this level 2, you guys can ask, and then we can move forward. Any questions? Okay. If you guys don't have questions, then let me move to the main topic of today's, which is the project types. So let me start with the project type. First thing. In the project type, we will start discussing regarding what is the path of S4HANA. When I say what is a path of S4HANA, when business wants to implement SAP in their business, when they want to start implementing SAP, at that point of time, what are the decisions they're going to take? So are we going to directly implement SAP, or do we have to do any other step? So if I take another way, let me share my screen with the PPT. So let me take three examples. Three business. One is business one, business two, business three. So there are three types of business. I'm taking an example of three types of business. When I come to business one, this business is a small scale industry. They are just doing some manufacturing, they're buying and selling the products. Okay. They do their transactions, they record their transactions in Excel. The tool what they're using is Excel. Whenever they purchase the material, they are going to record the information in the Excel. Whenever they're going to sell the material, they're going to record it in Excel. And even the invoicing party, everything is done in Excel. Apart from Excel, this business does not use anything. Okay. Coming to the second business, this business is using Tally or they are using Oracle. The business two is bit advanced than business one. Business one is just entering a data entry in Excel and keeping the data for future purpose. But business two is using a software which is Tally or Oracle, where they are still storing the data in the software. They're a bit advanced because if Excel get crashed, you will not be able to recover it. But in Tally or Oracle, you can still recover the data somehow. Then coming to the third business is using SAP, but they're using ECC. Okay, so ECC is the old version of SAP. As of now, as you all guys know, we are using S4HANA. S4HANA is a new version of the SAP. So business one is using Excel, business two is using Tally or Oracle, and business three is using SAP ECC. So all these three business wants to implement S4HANA. In that case, how are we going to do this? So for example, now business one is using Excel. So they don't want to do anything. They can just provide this Excel files to us, decide the process, what they want to implement, and they can directly implement S4HANA. They can directly implement S4HANA. Now coming to this business two, Tally or Oracle, they need to stabilize their legacy system. So this system is called legacy. This is system what they're using initially, or from which system they want to convert it to SAP. The old system is called as legacy system. So I'll be using the word legacy a lot of times in this level too. So whenever I use legacy system, that means the system what they're using now is called legacy system. So this legacy system will have the process. They know what process they want to use. They have the master data with them, but all the data are in different format. Okay, in this case also, they can implement SAP S4HANA. Okay, but partially. Because they have their master data ready, but in different format. They also have their process ready with them. So it will be a bit easier to them, or it is going to be a bit easier to the business or implementation partner to understand what is the process they need and what is the master data they need. Okay. Now, third business. This business is already having an experience in working with SAP, but they are using ECC system. Now, when they're using ECC system, they know what is SAP. They are used to SAP system. Now we are moving to the advanced version of SAP, which is S4HANA. So here, there might be some constraint. We have the process ready here completely. We completely have the process. We completely have the master data. You just need to convert the data from ECC to S4. So this is a difference. When business is using Excel, they don't have anything. They have zero. All the data is in Excel. They need to design the process. They need to design the master data completely. that is 100%. Okay, now business 2. Business 2, as I mentioned, they know the process, they know the master data, but partially, because Tally is only working on finance part. Oracle is working on most of the procurement and sales, but not warehouse. So they have partially. This is partial. I can take just 60%. Now business 3 is using SAP ECC. They have the process ready. They have the master data ready. They just want to convert it. So they have 100% is ready with them. So 100%, not completely 100%. Here partially, here 100% is ready. So these are the three types of business which you might see when you are entering into SAP world. So one business does not know anything. Some business knows something because they are using some software, and some business are already using SAP ECC. They have much knowledge on it. So why I'm telling this to you guys is the first thing what we're going to discuss here is the path for S4HANA. So path for S4HANA. So if we take the business 3 as an example now for path for S4HANA. So how are we going to plan to implement SAP? So there are three approaches. There are three approaches, for example. First thing, think that business is using already SAP ECC. If business is already using SAP ECC, they have an option to directly go and implement S4HANA. They can directly go and implement S4HANA. Or they have the second option. They can just change the database. What is the difference between SAP ECC and SAP S4HANA?
S4 HANA uses HANA database, where SAP ECC can use any database and also HANA database.
So ECC has the third-party database, and S4HANA has their own database, which is HANA. So now when the business wants to convert or they want to upgrade the system from ECC to S4HANA, they have two options. They can directly implement S4HANA. They have another option. As of now, if they don't have much revenue or much money to invest on it, they can just change the database from third party to SAP database. So this ECC to S4HANA directly conversion is one-step approach. Okay, now second thing, from ECC, I'm just changing the database. After changing the database, after some days, I am going to convert this to S4HANA. This is two-step approach. So here I'm directly converting to S4HANA, so one-step approach. Here, first I'm going to convert the database, then I'm going to implement SAP S4HANA. That is two-step approach. Apart from this, you have three-step approach also. Initially, when you have SAP S4HANA, sorry, SAP ECC, first thing, I will change the database. I'll keep on using the ECC system. Then if I have some money, I'll invest on it. And then I'll implement just simple finance. Because finance is the base for all the modules. So I'll first implement simple finance. Implementing the finance module, that means implementing the finance module. When I'm implementing the finance module, that is called as simple finance. After some days, once my finance, everything is stabilized, then I'll go and implement S4HANA. So this is three-step approach. First step, second step, and third step. So this is three-step approach. So normally we have three-step approach. One step when you're going to directly convert to S4HANA. Two step when you're going to change first you're going to change the database, and then you're going to convert that to S4HANA. Then you have the third three-step approach where first you're going to change the database. After you change the database, then you're going to implement the finance module first, and later on you're going to implement S/4HANA. So these are the three-step approach. So in what cases business is going to select one step, two step, and three step? That is what we are going to discuss now. So if I move back to my presentation. So first
Venkatesh,
thing, yes,
R2 and R3 will come under ECC only, right?
yes, R1, R2, R3 are all are under ECC. Those are called as real-time 1, real-time 2, and real-time 3.
Okay, thanks.
So now, path of S/4HANA, even I'm taking an example of ECC. First thing, one-step approach. I'm going to directly convert ECC to S4. That is one step. Two-step approach. First, I'm going to just convert. Okay, I can directly go to Simple Finance. I'm not going to change anything, any database also. I'm going to convert it to Simple Finance and then S/4HANA. That is also two-step approach. Then when I'm going to convert the ECC and I'm inputting the database now. So I'm removing the third-party database, I'm putting the HANA database into it. So when I remove, this is the main important question. So when I'm removing the third-party database and inputting the SAP database, which is HANA, then that system is not called as ECC system. That is called as SAP Suite on HANA, because you are using ECC software, but with the HANA database. So in that case, that system is called as Suite on HANA. Okay. Then from Suite on HANA, you can directly go and implement S/4HANA, or you can still have an option. You can go and implement Simple Finance, and then you can implement the S/4HANA. So these are the approaches what we take when we implement SAP. So you need to suggest all these things to business. So these are the options we have to implement SAP. If you have more revenue, if you are ready to invest and directly implement SAP, then go with the one-step approach. As of now, if you don't have much money, you want to just change the database, then go with two-step approach. If you still have low amount, you don't have much to invest now, then go with three-step approach. Why three-step approach? Because when you input or when you remove the third-party database and input SAP HANA database, you are going to save the money what you are paying for the third-party database. Okay, and after you implement that database, you are going to save that money, and each and every month you need to pay money to the third-party database, and that money is getting saved, and you can store that money somewhere and invest that to implement Simple Finance. Once your finance module is done, working fine, and then your work, it is going to be more cost effective. It is going to reduce the manpower. It is going to reduce the time on working in SAP. Then you can implement S/4HANA. So this is the options what we are going to give to the business, and business is going to decide what is the approach they want to take. I also mentioned the reason for approach here. First thing is the choice of innovation. So I said, if business is thinking innovatively, so if they want to invent or if they want to build up their process, they can check with the team and start thinking innovatively, and they can just implement the database and then they can do the S/4HANA. Okay. And second thing is, if the business is not at all using SAP, in that case, this path of S/4HANA is not applicable. Okay. Then the third one is the budget constraint. If you have budget, then go. If you don't have budget, then wait for the multiple steps of approach. Then the last thing is the business impact. So if you're going to directly implement S/4HANA, you need to completely shut your business for some days. You need to provide your manpower to us. At least for each and every module, we need 2 to 3 SMEs. So the employees who are working in your business, who are expert in your business, should be provided to us. So we will start working with them to build the process. So these are the reasons. Okay. So now after we see the path of S/4HANA, now let us see what are the different types of implementation we have in SAP. So first thing is the greenfield implementation. So if you have heard regarding this greenfield implementation, this greenfield implementation is completely standard. Whenever you say that you have worked in greenfield implementation, business will ask you, how many greenfield implementation have you worked and what is the percentage of standard and the custom? Okay, so based on that, business or any of the implementation partner is going to decide what is the knowledge you have on it. So normally, greenfield implementation is going to be 80% standard, 70 to 80% of standard, and remaining custom. Why? If I go to Excel or the presentation,
Venkatesh, I have a question.
yes.
What is meant by greenfield, and how
Sorry?
can you differentiate here with brownfield?
Sorry.
What is meant by greenfield?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. That is what I'm going to explain here.
Oh, sorry. Please continue.
So first type of project is a greenfield implementation. So greenfield implementation is nothing but this type of implementation is suggested only for business who does not use SAP, no SAP. The business can use Excel, the business can use Tally, Oracle, anything, but they should not use SAP. When an implementation partner is suggesting a greenfield implementation to a business, then they are no more using SAP there. Okay, now why it is called as greenfield implementation? So for example, when you have a green mat, you can create any colors on it. So it is going to be plain. It is going to be plain sheet for you. You can create anything on it. Because we don't use white screen also to create anything in any of the creations. We use green screen to create a lot of things. Even a lot of VFX is done based on the green screen, not on the white screen. Because green screen can adopt anything. That is the reason they have given the name called greenfield implementation here, because you can adopt, you can invent, or you can design any process here. Any process can be designed here because business does not know what is SAP here. They have done the process in Excel, they have done the process in their legacy system, but in their own manner, in their own ideas. But coming to SAP, you have different process, which is completely standard, which is completely designed by SAP. So if you explain this is the process, for example, they tell that this is the purchase to pay cycle, what they follow. The P2P cycle is standard across all the softwares, but here we have some additional things like RFQ. We have to maintain the quotation system itself. Normally in Tally or Oracle, you cannot maintain the quotation system. It is going to happen outside the system. The RFQ process is completely going to happen outside system. But in SAP, it is going to happen inside system. So you are going to say, what is the best practice for SAP? SAP has designed the best practice, saying that this is the standard. So you can propose a standard to the business and make them agree. So in greenfield implementation, you are going to get a completely blank system. Blank system from SAP. You can fill or you can design anything based on the business requirement. So here you are the solution builder. You are going to give the solution to the business. Okay, it is going to be completely pretty standard. So as we know that we have two types of data. One is master data. One is a transaction data. Okay, then we have the configuration, development, or the design. So here, as the business is not using SAP, they are using Tally or Oracle or Excel. They have their own data in their system, and they can extract the data and give it to us. So that is going to be completely a different type of data in Excel. When I say master data, it is material master, vendor master, purchase info record. Transaction data is PR, PO, contract, schedule agreement, and RFQs. So all these can be extracted through Excel, and they're going to give the Excel to you, and you are going to format that Excel based on your template you have in SAP, and you're going to upload those. Okay. Now coming to the configuration development. Configuration is completely standard. You have zero configuration in legacy. You need to start the configuration from scratch. You need to build your enterprise structure on your own. You need to decide what are the material types you need to have. Business will have some idea. Business will have their own idea on how many material types they need, how many vendors they need, or how many vendor types they need. But we need to rediscuss, asking questions, asking them why we need so many material types and vendor master or vendor account groups. So based on the discussion, based on the workshop, we decide what is the configuration is going to be there. And coming to the development, in SAP, we have an option called fit or gap. So business might be using lot of process in their legacy system. So some process might be applicable in SAP. You can directly do it in SAP. And some process is not applicable in SAP. So what is applicable is called as fit, and what is not applicable is called gap. So here in greenfield implementation, if you are naming this project as a greenfield implementation, then fit should be at least 60 to 70%. Gap should be only 30%, not more than 30%. If the gap is more than 30%, you are not supposed to call it as greenfield implementation because you are developing something here. When you are not developing anything, you are using standard SAP functionality, only then it is called as greenfield implementation. Okay, so configuration and design is same. So this is how the greenfield implementation works. Any questions regarding greenfield implementation?
This fit and gap, can you please elaborate a little?
Yeah. So fit is nothing but the process what is going to be happen in SAP. You can tell business that if they ask you to create a different type of material types, is that possible for you? You can do it. So you will tell, okay, this is fine, this is what I can do. This is fit for SAP. For example, if they say that I wanted to receive the goods received from supplier, then supplier is sending you the goods, and supplier will do a goods issue from his system, and automatically the goods receipt should happen in your system. But that is not SAP standard. That is not going to be fit. So what all is not feasible with SAP is called gap. What is feasible with SAP is called as fit. Regarding fit and gap analysis of the workshop, I have one day dedicated to speak on that. We will discuss there in detail.
Okay.
Any questions before I move to the second type of project?
I think you can continue, Vitish.
Okay, so coming to the second type of project, we have the conversion project. The second type of project is the conversion. So conversion project is nothing but the business is already using SAP, but they're using ECC. As of now, SAP has released a note that before 2025 or 26, all the business who is under ECC should get converted to S/4HANA. So now there are a lot of conversion projects coming in. So almost 80% of the projects are already done, 20% of projects are still open, and they are getting converted to S/4HANA. So here what happens is they're already using an SAP ECC and they're just converting into S/4HANA. So this type of project is very, very difficult. To convert the project from ECC to S4 is very difficult project. But here you don't want to design the process. So as I mentioned, same thing. You have the master data. You have the transaction data. You have the configuration. You have the development. When you're comparing the project types, you need to compare these four things. In Greenfield, what did I mention? In Greenfield, you don't have master data. You have it in Excel. You don't have the transaction data in system. You have it in Excel. So you extract the data and give it to them. They design based on that. Configuration. You don't have anything in your legacy system when you did a Greenfield implementation. You're going to do from scratch. But now coming to the conversion project, you have the complete configuration in ECC. What business is asking, you just need to copy the configuration what you have in ECC to S4. 100% of configuration should come to S4, but that is going to be a bit tricky because if I go with the baseline configuration, you have enterprise structure. Enterprise structure, you can directly move. Material master, you can directly move. But now coming to the vendor master. In ECC, it is called as vendor master. In S/4HANA, it is called business partner. In ECC, you can go to the transaction called XK01 and create your vendor directly. But in S/4HANA, you need to create the business partner using the BP transaction and then extend the role FLVN00 and FLVN01. Here you are just creating vendor. Here you are extending the vendor because you need to create the business partner first. The business partner is not applicable here. The business partner is applicable here. Then in that case, we cannot move the complete configuration of business partner or vendor master to ECC to S4. You have the config, but you cannot move it because there are some changes. In ECC, you don't have business partner grouping. In S4, you have business partner grouping. In ECC, you don't have 3 prerequisites, keeping the vendor number range as external and keeping the business partner number, vendor master number same and enabling the same number. You don't have these 3 prerequisites. But in S4, you have these 3 prerequisites. So you cannot blindly move the complete configuration to S4 from ECC. You need to analyze what is the additional things you have compared to ECC and S4. Where you don't have any changes compared to ECC and S4, you can directly move the configuration to S4. But if you have a small change also, you should not move those, you should create it manually again. So here, in Greenfield, you're completely doing it from scratch. Your system, you are owning the system, you can do anything there. But in conversion, you should map your ECC system with your S4 system. And only 30 to 40% of configuration will be same. You can directly move to S4 HANA. Remaining 60 to 70% of configuration, you need to do it manually with all the changes. You don't have material ledger in ECC. You have material ledger in S4 HANA. Without material ledger in S4 HANA, you cannot do any transaction. But without material ledger, you can do any transaction in ECC. So you need to find what is the gap between these two systems and make a note. To make this analysis and do this prerequisite, it may take a lot of time. Normally, to do this prerequisite, it may take months, 2 to 3 months. In that 2 to 3 months, if you're in greenfield implementation, you can directly go and do the configuration and hand over the design to business. But here, for 3 to 4 months, you're still doing the analysis. And there is one more issue here. In ECC, if there is any customization done. For example, in Material Master, business needed some additional fields. They have implemented those additional fields in ECC. But when you're moving the configuration directly to S4 HANA, this custom fields needs to be added before you move the configuration. And when you're migrating this master data, when you're moving this master data from legacy system or the ECC system to S4 HANA, you also need to map this custom fields. You need to create the custom fields in S4 HANA before you do the transaction. So there are a lot of checkpoints which you need to keep a note and then understand what are the changes. First, you need to understand the ECC system and then build your S4 system, what to move from ECC to S4 and what not to move from ECC to S4. That should be designed and decided. Then you need to prepare S4 HANA for the TR movement or transport movement. And only then you will be able to do the configuration in S4 HANA. So that is the reason here in this conversion project is more tricky than greenfield implementation. Here, as I mentioned, only 30 to 40% is standard, 60 to 70% is customization. Okay, any questions in conversion? Any questions? Okay, so let me go back to this. So from here, we have covered the greenfield implementation. We have covered the conversion. And we also discussed regarding the difference between, or we have compared the greenfield and conversion. What is the difference and what is the challenges we face in conversion? And one more thing we discussed, what are the challenges we face in conversion more? So what is the challenges we face in greenfield? The challenges what we face in greenfield implementation is the business does not have any idea. We need to educate business before we gather the requirement from them. They might speak in the perspective of legacy, but when you're collecting the information, you need to convert those into S4 process. That is very difficult. So that is the main challenge. And when you're extracting the data from legacy system or Excel, you need to ask them to extract the data in such a way that it is going to match your S4 template. So in greenfield, you need to educate the SMEs or you need to educate the business to get the work done. In conversion, they are already educated, but the process is going to be very difficult for us to do the prerequisite. Okay. And there is another project type which is not at all used in any of the businesses, which is called as hybrid scenario. So what they do, they divide the project into two phases. One is greenfield, one is conversion. If business is confirming that the master data, we have not done any of the customization, we have not created any custom fields in the master data, master data is clean, then only for master data we will go with the greenfield implementation. For remaining configuration, we will go with the conversion project. But this is not at all used because it is more risky than the conversion project. Okay. Then we have the POC, which is called as proof of concept. So this is a short-term project and it is a paid project. So let me reshare my screen. POC. So POC is nothing but proof of concept. So this project is nothing but, for example, now a large scale industry or any big industry is coming and asking us to implement SAP, and they are going to invest some crores together here for one implementation. They're going to invest some 15 crores, 30 crores. If the business is wider in the all over the world, then they're also going to invest 50 crores or 60 crores. When they're investing so much of amount, they need to see how the SAP is going to work, how the SAP is going to perform. In that case, they will ask us to create one process or one concept as a proof. For example, they might ask, show us P2P cycle in S/4HANA how it works. And then you need to start building that process into SAP to show the proof to the business saying that this is a process, how it is going to work in SAP and how it is going to make your life simple. And for this, when I say P2P cycle, to complete P2P cycle, to show a complete P2P cycle, you need to build your enterprise structure, you need to build your master data, you need to create your vendors, you need to build your PIRs, and you also need to see the P2P cycle configuration, everything. So it might take some time. So what SAP has decided for proof of concept, the consultants who are working on this or the implementation partner who is going to work on this should be paid. Only then we will show the proof of concept. So to show the proof of concept, we will use the demo system. The system what we are using is a demo system. The same system can be used to show the proof to the business how the SAP is going to work for their process. Because each and every business will have different process and they need to see their complex process, how it is going to look in SAP system. That is proof of concept. Okay. Then we have one more type of project, which is called as pilot project. So next thing is the pilot project. So what is this pilot project? Pilot project is nothing but it is going to be a small project. For example, now assume that the business is already implemented SAP and they're using SAP. And after, as I mentioned earlier, every year SAP is going to release the new upgrade. In each and every upgrade, we cannot tell that what is the changes they're going to bring. Before release, they will define what are the changes for each and every module and what is going to happen. So for this, if they don't have any consultant with them working, they already went live, they're using SAP in their business, and suddenly SAP released an update saying that these are the changes for each and every module. Then what they're going to do, they are going to hire one consultant to do those changes. So that is the reason we called it as the project with smaller scope. If you want to just create or update the system, that can be done by a consultant. If there is any new material type should be created, that can be done by a small consultant. And this is going to be a real-time project. In the POC, it is just a proof. I'm just creating the process in the demo system and showing it for the proof. But pilot project is the real project. I'm going to directly implement it and I'm going to move this to the production. And this pilot project is always going to be done after the go live. And that is going to place in the production environment. That changes are going to be there in the production environment. Okay, so this is the pilot project. Then we have the rollout project, which you guys would have familiar with the rollout project. You would have heard asking, did you work on rollout project or you have experience on rollout project? So what is this rollout project? So next project type is the rollout. Give me a second. Rollout project. This is one of the famous type of project. So here, the business is not going to implement SAP in all the plants. They are going to implement the SAP in a single plant first, test what is happening there and what is the revenue they're gaining based on the implementation and what are the changes, how the employees are adopted to it. If everything is working fine in one plant, then they're going to move to the next plant. For example, take this is a complete big business. They have multiple plants here, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6.
We are unable to see the other screen. Only this screen is visible.
Now, is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So rollout project, as I mentioned, you will have some multiple plans, 7 or 8 plans, as I mentioned here. So first, business is going to implement SAP here in this plant. They're going to implement SAP in this. So what they do the configuration, they do the developments, they upload the master data, they upload the transaction data, they will do everything. They will use SAP, start using SAP in this plant. And all these other plants will be using the legacy system. Everyone will be using legacy. Only one plant will be using SAP. If everything goes fine, if the revenue is more in the plant 1 compared to the plant 2, then what they do, they roll the configuration, what we have done from this plant to this plant. They only roll the configuration and the development, not the master data. If the master data is same, then they will also roll the master data, but normally they don't do it. Master data will be uploaded freshly. Then they start using SAP in plant 2. And after some days, they will move the configuration again to plant 3, and then this plant 3 will use SAP. So this is a rollout project. So for this project, they don't want to invest all the amount in a single go. They can invest amount for only one plant, and they can hire some consultants on their own and get this done for the other plants. So this is the rollout project. Normally they do in wave release. In first wave, this plant will go live. In wave 2, this plant will go live. In wave 3, this plant will go live. So they're going to release the SAP in wave wise. So when they're releasing the project in the wave wise, you need to understand that this is a rollout project. Okay. Then we have the last type of project, which is support project. Last type of project is support project. This support project is going to be coming into picture after the go live. Now in the greenfield implementation, conversion, rollout, pilot, and POC, you are doing everything before business is using SAP. But support project is done after the business is using SAP and they are go live. Because support project is nothing but you are just supporting the business with the issues they have. So what type of issues? So they're starting SAP to use, now they're starting SAP to use first time. And when they're doing any transaction, any entries, they might get some errors, which they will not be able to resolve it. They need a consultant to help them to resolve those. So in that case, you need a support consultant or support project. And after some days, they felt that The process what they're using is more manual. They can make some automation in it. They can do some enhancement. In that case, a support consultant can work on enhancing the system and building the custom reports, building the custom forms. So this support consultant is going to completely work on the error part and the upcoming developments and the upgrades. These are the three activities which the support consultant is going to follow. The support consultant is going to work. So these are the different types of projects what we have in SAP. The first thing what we discussed is the greenfield. Then we have the brownfield, which is the conversion. Then we have the rollout. Then we have the support. These are the important project types. Apart from this, we have POC, pilot as additional. So these are the different project types what we use in SAP. Any questions?
Is POC still happening in the market?
Yes, it is happening.
Okay.
Venkatesh, greenfield and brownfield, like conversion project is similar to brownfield project.
Yes, both are same conversion and brownfield is same.
Okay.
Generally, what will be the duration for each implementation or conversion?
That
Is
depends
there
on
any
that depends on the business size. If business is operating from multiple countries, normally for greenfield, they might take 2 years to 2.5 years. And if business is operating only for one country, then they might take 1.5 years. And coming to conversion, for conversion, they might take 1.5 years, 2 years if they're operating from one country, and more than 3 years if they're operating from multiple countries. And if you're going with a rollout project, if you're releasing on the waves, so each wave will get released every year. So how many plants you have, so many years.
So in total, there are 7 kinds of projects. So every business has to adopt itself within these 7, is it?
Yes, not 7, 3. Greenfield, brownfield, and rollout. Support project is
I
after the go
considered
live.
POC and pilot also, and hybrid also.
No, hybrid is not at all used. Support is after the go live. POC is just a testing purpose, and pilot is just a freelancing. So you have only these 3 options.
Okay.
Any questions? Fine. If no questions, then these are the different types of projects. So whenever you're showing an experience in different companies, you need to select. This is the first question they might ask: how many end-to-end implementation you have worked, and what type of project you have worked. When you answer this only based on this, your profile will get shortlisted. If the requirement they have is for conversion, and you mention conversion in your list, then your profile will get shortlisted. And if you have mentioned greenfield, you will go to greenfield requirements. So understand what are the different types of projects very well, and then this will help you to build the resume in a better way. Okay. So this is the types of projects we have discussed today, and tomorrow we will take some business as an example, any one type of industry, and discuss how the business might explain how their industry is going to look and how they are going to work internally. So that part we will discuss tomorrow. And tomorrow morning we will cover level 1 topic, and evening we will cover level 2. And this will keep on going every week. Every week we will have 2 sessions in the morning and 2 sessions in the evening. Okay. Any questions?
Since you worked as a consultant, um, uh, which projects are happening
In India, there are conversion projects happening, and outside India, there are greenfield happening. In India, 80% of projects are conversion, 20% are greenfield. Outside India, if you find any international projects, then 50% of greenfield, 50% of conversion. A rollout are very less, but if the business size is very big, then they go with the rollout.
SAP Business One also has the same kind of projects, right? Implementation.
Business One is different. Business One is a programming tool.
Okay.
So they don't do the configuration, they just do the programming.
Okay.
So other than SAP, Venkatesh? Hello.
Yeah.
So other than SAP, what tools are important for a consultant like Excel, Power BI, which are necessary?
Normally for SAP consultant, you need to know how to work on Excel because you will be working on the cutover activities. Then you need to understand something regarding the bots. I'll let you know what is bots when we move to cutover activities. Then apart from that, you need to know how the tables and fields are mapped. How are you going to map the tables and fields between two systems? You'll come to know that in the upcoming sessions.
So is basic Excel enough, or should
Yeah,
it
it
be
is.
advanced?
It is enough.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, then we will wrap up here and we'll meet tomorrow morning to discuss on the level 1 topic.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.